It's Beer O'Clock here in London, and this is the Beer O'Clock show, where every week we engage in some light-hearted beer-related banter. My name is Mark, and joining me from the county that played host to the first ever crocodile brought to the UK is my beer mentor, Steve. G'day, Steve.
Good evening, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That crocodile was in a garden of some manor house in Braintree.
Really?
In the 1700s, yeah.
See, no, Braintree's just down the road from me.
Yeah, crocodile capital of the UK.
There you are.
You never
Brilliant. Would never have thought it.
I've had quite the beery week since we last spoke. How's yours?
Yes, you have.
How has yours been?
Nowhere near as beery as yours by the sounds of things. Which is a first.
Before I get into my long list of accomplishments in the last 7 days, what have you gotten up to?
Beer-wise,
yeah,
obviously, yeah. You don't want to know what I've been up to today, do you? It's people aren't tuning in to listen to me talking about my life. Okay, what have I had? I've had continuing the cans debate. I went back to Hobgoblin and sampled Hobgoblin from a can, but in a glass this time, and I must say it was better that way, because I think we spoke either last week or the week before about letting beer breathe a little bit to try and get some of its flavours back. So out of the can in the glass, again, the roasted malty flavours come back that you'd get from the bottle. But interestingly, I was getting a hoppier aftertaste than I've ever got with a bottle.
Oh, wow.
And it was really the first time I've ever really been able to taste the hops in a Hobgoblin. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, just a general question, is maybe the cans actually helped hold the hops than the bottle? Just a random thought out there. But I thought I'd go back and sample it again and continue this debate around cans.
Cool, because hops are quite reactive, aren't they? They're kind of like an antibacterial... We'll get to why I know that in a second.
Yeah.
They're kind of a preservative type thing, aren't they? So maybe the seal on the bottles is not as airtight as perhaps it should be.
Maybe.
To the cans. Yeah. The reason I know that is because you were badgering me to watch the Great British Beer Hunt. Was that
No, the Great British Food Revival.
Food Revival.
Been a lot of great British things this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a TV show on the BBC. It's available on iPlayer still, and basically half this episode was all about the revival of craft beers, quite heavily leaning towards getting women to like ales, which is fair enough, but it was just the lady who was hosting it visited a few breweries, talked about the process and the original way that beers were brewed, and that's how I know that hops were used as a preservative and antibacterial way back in the day.
Yeah, so every day's a school day.
Every day's a school day. That was
here on the Beer O'Clock show.
Yeah, that was a good show as well.
It was. I was fascinated by it as well.
They had a small London brewery called Kennel.
Colonel.
Is it Colonel?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Kennel, as in a dog kennel. That's disappointing. Thought that was quite a cool name for a brewery. Colonel. I've never seen any of their beers.
Oh, they're lovely.
Are they?
Yeah, they really, really hoppy, really flavoursome. The only place I've ever seen them in bottles to buy is there's a shop at St Pancras Station that sells them in bottles. But a lot of the craft beer pubs in London, you can get the bottles over the bar, and there's a few that do the odd keg as well.
Cool. I have to check that out one day. And they had a visit to Shepherd Neame, and some various other places. It was really fascinating. So check that out on iPlayer, see if it's still there.
Yeah, worth a watch.
Yep. Was there any other beery news?
I drank another Barry Island IPA, which seems to be becoming a weekly staple beer for me.
Yeah.
My personal assignment coming up was the Wolf Brewery Poppy Ale, which I'll talk about in a while. I did the Cooper's Sparkling Ale as well that you gave me. But I think I made a mistake in doing it after the Hobgoblin, Barry Island and Wolf Brewery because I didn't get a lot in terms of flavour. from it. Very lively drink,
Yeah.
very lively pour, and despite my best efforts, ended up with a huge head in the glass. But despite the fizziness, as you said when you reviewed it, it's a really smooth beer,
It
very
is, yeah.
easy to drink. But as I say, I didn't really get a lot of flavour from it. There's a slight bittery aftertaste, but otherwise I got nothing
And
from it. So.
did you pour the sediment out after you'd finished just to see how cloudy it was?
Well, I made the mistake of when I poured it and got the massive head, I then straightened the bottle back up, and there's still more than just the sediment in the bottle, and I was like, oh, I've left beer. But then I looked at it and it was as cloudy as anything,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to pour that. But then I swirled it around in the bottle and poured it out in the sink, and there was no sediment, so the sediment had obviously mixed.
Okay.
So
Yeah. It's well known for way back when this first came out. The Coopers Brewery was something of a laughingstock in Australia because they went into the whole craft beer type thing rather than the, like the Fosters and the Forex,
yeah,
the Castlemaine typical type of lager type beers. And they were known for being very cloudy drinks because they just poured it straight out. And there was another brewery that came out with a similar ale, and there was an ad that was basically a joke on Coopers saying, a less cloudier ale for you or something like that. But obviously, bottle conditioned, you don't want to pour the whole thing out. Yeah, I really like. I quite like that beer. A little taste of home. Being Aussie.
I think I'd need to do it again, but probably first in the evening.
Yeah, because our mate Andy, that's the 3 words I use to describe him on every show. Our mate Andy, he had a bottle of it as well, and he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, he was saying that to me on Twitter as well.
After the Coopers, did you get anything else?
I just did a couple of bottles of Samuel Adams Boston Lager on Saturday. I was in Frankie and Benny's for dinner, and they served that as an alternative to shit lager or Boddington's. So that's it.
That's a fair bottle because I had one of them on the weekend as well.
Yeah,
it's nice enough, isn't it?
But yeah, it's the last time I tried it, I wasn't that impressed with it. But this time, I found it really crisp and refreshing, like a lager, but with less carbonation. And I actually got quite a lot of hops from them as well in the aftertaste. Not sure if you got that.
I did. I found it hoppier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one of them on Saturday night, along with a Barry Island IPA that you've given me.
Finally.
I had that with a steak and ale pie, and that was the
Combo.
perfect combo.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. It's a gorgeous beer.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. And
now available in Tesco stores nationwide, apparently.
Are we looking out for that?
Yes, indeed.
But that went down a real treat. I had the Brooklyn Lager that I mentioned last week that I bought. That was really nice as well. Again, like the Samuel Adams, it's not what we consider a lager. Not like sudsy piss, which is basically what you can call lager these days. It's the traditional lager recipe from way back in the Prohibition times. This has all come from. Very nice. And I had my personal assignment, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And last night I had a Ben Nevis India Pale Ale from Scotland, as the name suggests. It's not an IPA in my book.
No.
Very little hops. Very hoppy on the nose. But when you get to it, the malts overrun the hops. And a very dark colour as well. It's a peculiar one. It's brewed in Stirling, apparently.
Sounds interesting.
By some mass
I was
market
intrigued
outfit.
when I saw you check that one in last night.
Yeah, that's one.
Especially seeing as it was a Monday as well.
Yeah.
IPA on a school night.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, I had another steak and ale pie in the fridge, so I thought I'd pair them up.
Yeah.
That's a beer that my mate Alistair sent down from Scotland. So thanks to him for that. And further in my beer adventures, on the weekend I went and bought some beer, and I found a beer shop in Bury St Edmunds, much to my delight, that stocks loads of European beers and some American ones as well, I think, craft beers and East Anglian ones. The beers I got were a Emily's Black IPA, which I think is Dutch,
Mm.
An Adnams Lighthouse and Gunhill,
Nice.
Thornbridge Wild Swan.
Ooh, like the Wild Swan. Although
Um,
our friend Andy, he had one of those at the weekend. He wasn't very impressed.
oh, really?
Yeah, thought it had no flavour to it,
Oh,
which, in contrast to when I remember drinking it, I thought it had loads of flavour.
well, I'm looking forward to it anyway. Cumberland Ale, a Grain India Pale Ale. Grain are a Norfolk brewery,
Okay.
or it's the Norfolk brewery, and the beer is called Grain. I'm not sure. An Humble Ale, something, and what is going to be my Christmas beer, which is a St. Peter's Christmas Ale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I bought a nice tall St. Peter's pint glass as well.
Oh,
And to top it all off,
starting a collection of pint glasses as well as having a beer shelf.
I got my 300 beers to try before you die camera book. So that's going to be,
Sir, are becoming a beer connoisseur.
that's going to be the death of me. Yeah. Okay. Let's get on to our personal assignments. So your personal assignment was the Wolf Brewery Poppy Ale,
It was.
and mine was the Goose Island IPA. What did you think of the Wolf Brewery Poppy Ale?
Not overly impressed. To be honest, it was one of the beers that I picked up from the Sainsbury's Great British Beer Hunt. 10p from each bottle went to the Poppy Appeal, which, to be fair, I thought was a little tight. Considering they probably didn't sell a huge amount of these bottles, they could have maybe given a little bit more than 10p per bottle. I'll get off my soapbox now, sorry. But out of the bottle, it was a very, very light golden colour, ever so slightly cloudy, small amount of carbonation, and just a tiny, just poured with a tiny head. The most off-putting thing straight away, though, was the aroma was almost perfume-like. So that really put me off of it before I even tasted it.
Almost flowery.
But sorry,
like flowery type perfume.
yeah, very, very flowery, fieldy type. As far as I know, they didn't actually put any poppies in it, so I wouldn't have said it was the aroma of poppy, which is obviously opium, which is a bit worrying if they've started putting that in beer. But I didn't. Just that aroma just put me off. But in terms of the taste, it was very crisp, ever so lightly hopped, and left quite a hoppy bitterness in the aftertaste. The only thing I could really compare it to would be like a European Pilsner like lager.
Okay.
In both appearance and taste, but not really one of the best pints I've ever had. Far too bitter, and the lingering aftertaste was a bit too much, and the floral aroma just really put me off. So I'm only giving that 2 stars, I'm afraid.
It doesn't sound like a great combo.
No,
The
not
floralness and the bitterness.
just didn't work for me.
That's a
if I'm
shame.
honest.
That's a real shame.
Yeah.
My personal assignment with the Goose Island IPA, and in contrast to your review, I would have to say that's possibly one of the better beers I've had in a while. I really liked it. I mean, I was 4 beers down by the time I got to it.
That's a lot for you.
Yeah, it was. It was a pleasant evening. What can I say? It wasn't too malty. It was nice and spicy, really smooth, and as you like to say, Steve, it went down a real treat. So I'd drink that again anytime, which is good because it's in Waitroses all over the place. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having that more often. So that's my review of the Goose Island IPA. That's all I can say, really. It was gorgeous. I loved it.
I'm pretty sure I've had it before, but too long ago to be able to remember what it tastes like. To be able to pass comment, really.
Yeah, well, you'll have to get another one.
Yeah, any excuse. Is it time?
It's time, mate. Here we go for this week's review, which is Thornbridge Raven Black IPA. Now, this won an award as the best black IPA in the world.
It did.
I think it. Yeah.
Yep. I've been researching that this evening. There is actually a thing called the World Beer Awards.
Yep.
Which, and you can find they've got a website and everything. and it tells you all the different categories of beer that have won awards over this year. And this particular beer won the world's best dark beer.
Whoa, get that smell off it.
Yeah, I know. As soon as you open it, there's that aroma. And it also won Europe's best dark Black IPA as well. So it's actually won 2 awards in the 2012 World Beer Awards.
Wow.
Oh, that just smells amazing.
So, the Raven Black IPA from Thornbridge, 6.6% ABV. The Raven, this is from the back label. The Raven pours dark with a beige head. Yep. Aromas are of intense pine hops and sweet roasted malt. Oh yeah, you can really get that pine hops in there, can't you?
Yeah.
And flavours are a complex combination of bitter chocolate with pineapple and orange proceeding along bitter finish. We'll get to that in a bit. But let me just pour the rest of this out.
This has also got in it, there's 6 hops in this. There's a combination of 6 hops in this beer, and 5 malts.
Bloody hell.
So I'm anticipating an absolute taste explosion in a moment.
It's got a very light beige head.
Yep.
Nice and foamy looking. Can't tell if it's carbonated well because it's so dark. Can't actually see through it. I can't see much through what I can see.
It's got that, again, another one of my favourite phrases, it's got that craft beer aroma to it. That's the aroma that you're getting, that when I say it's got that craft beer taste and flavour,
right.
That's it. Yeah,
very piney hops, as it says on the bottle. I'm glad they put that because now I can recognise it as being piney.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Let's get this down.
Yeah. Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
Whoa.
Bloody hell.
Hops in that aftertaste.
That's some bloody active hops, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's smooth. That is a smooth. It's not very malty. Like I was fearing it would be incredibly malty, but it's not. And the hops just help it slide down, and they burst in your mouth almost. That taste, that flavour.
There's just waves of flavour coming through in that. You take the initial sip and you do get the real dark sweet roasted malt flavour that's there, and
yep.
Then that's instantly replaced by a bit, and that's instantly replaced by the hops, and then the hops just linger around, and it's just marvellous.
Yeah, it's got a really spicy aftertaste.
Yeah.
Really smooth mouthfeel though.
Really, almost the aftertaste is almost that bittersweet, dark, chocolatey aftertaste again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a sweet malty coating to the inside of your mouth.
That's a really good beer.
What I like is that the pine scent doesn't carry over into the taste, because I think that would be far too much.
Yeah, I agree there actually. The taste is it's just bittersweet hops.
Yeah.
That aftertaste.
That is some intense hops.
Mm.
Now, I was looking at this on Rate Beer, as I am wont to do.
Yeah.
Scored a 98 overall out of 100.
Oh,
which is
wow.
pretty good considering how cynical many Rate Beer reviewers are.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people were saying we can't say any more about it other than what their score is. Just because I'm assuming they're lost for words, really.
Yeah, it's a stunning beer. I've got the Cyclops thing up here as well. So C, black, yes, kind of given away in the title. That was since it's a black IPA. Smell fruity and spicy, and a taste of berries, roasted and balanced taste. 3 on the bitter scale and 3 on the sweet scale. So I'd say that's probably about right actually, because it's very well balanced in flavours. There's not, as I say, you seem to get waves of flavours, and there's not a single overpowering flavour in there.
Yeah, it's a bit piney on the burp as well. But only slightly so.
Yeah.
So the hops are... Is it 5 hops? Nelson Sauvin, Centennial, and Sriracha Ace.
There's on the... because we should say, actually, that the good fellows at Thornbridge actually sent us these beers,
yes, indeed,
to try on the show. And in with it, they also sent us some promotional material about the beer, and they sent us kind of like, I suppose, what is a beer card,
which I have misplaced.
Yeah, good job I've got it here then, isn't it? So the hops, it's Nelson Sauvin for bitterness, Centennial and Sriracha for flavours. We've got, and then Chinook and Amarillo used to dry hop in the fermenter. So those are your 5 hops that are in there. And then your malts, you've got Marisotta, Munich, Black Patent, and Chocolate Malt. So that's all according to the promotional material that accompanies this. On the World Beer Awards website, their review of it is quite simply a rich, dark, distinctive nose, complex notes of citrus and grapefruit, molasses and burnt toast. Some dark chocolate.
There's your toast, mate.
I didn't get the toast this week. I'm going, hang on. No toast in there this week. Some dark chocolate, licorice and burnt malt, balanced with hops and orange notes, lingers long in the mouth. Now, I would agree with that. The taste doesn't go quickly, does it?
No. And for a 6.6% ABV, it's very easy going.
It is. Yes. I imagine that could hit you, though, suddenly.
Yes.
Be a 500ml bottle.
I dare say, when I hang up. Isn't that what the Innocent Gun is?
No, Innocent Gun was more than that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Phew. Because I say they're only tiny bottles. And one of them put me on my arse.
Yeah. Talking of which, I picked up another Winter Treacle Porter this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Sainsbury's are doing them for Christmas, so they come in a nice box as well. But there was like, I don't know, a third off of it or something, so it was $1.99 for a bottle. So I just had to get another bottle for Christmas.
Oh, I saw the gift pack that Innocent Gun do with the glass in it in Waitrose on the weekend. Yeah. So that's out there again, folks. If you fancy picking that up,
I think that's got in it this year. That's got the original, the spiced rum finish, and then the Winter Treacle Porter, plus your glass.
There you go. It's a nice glass as well.
It's a lovely glass. Whoa, yeah. Hops. Sorry, excuse me. Oh, those are the what are those hops I'm getting? Because I've smelt those before. Might be the Chinook, the hops that I'm really picking up.
I'm fascinated that there's so many different varieties of hops.
Oh yeah, it was on that show, wasn't it? There's that hop kind of museum place that's got over. Was it? They said 700 varieties of hops.
Something like that, yeah.
Some of which are kind of almost extinct.
Yeah. Because at one point, hops were one of the biggest crops in the UK.
Yeah.
They said, but now it's not. Mainly because... Now, tell me, do they not use hops in lager, like the mass-produced lager?
I don't think so, no. I think it's a combination of barley and malt.
Okay.
And wheat and water. I think I'm not really an expert. So it used to be that Beck's advert, wasn't there, that they said there's only ever 4 ingredients used.
Right.
And I think that was it. But we'll see. Let me search and see what I can find.
I just noticed on the cover of this 300 beers to try before you die is the Duker's IPA. that I reviewed as a personal assignment a few weeks ago.
You wasn't much impressed with that, were you?
I wasn't much impressed, no. Oh, we had Vic Norman from Dragon and Flagon on our pub tour, basically shouting at me that I'd mispronounced Dukers. Like, is it Deutsches or Deukars? And he was apparently shouting at his radio while he was listening to it, going, "It's Dukers, you twat." Now, I've had a few beers out of this. The Dukers, the Goose Island IPA is in there. As is the Brooklyn Lager and the Samuel Adams Lager.
It's not got very American biased, has it?
No, it's got loads of English beers in here. It's got the Adams Bitter. Black Sheep Best Bitter, which we haven't done before. We might be barred from... It's got the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, which is always in the Morrisons and the Waitrose and the everywhere else.
Ooh, I'll tell you what, we might have to do that on the show.
I think we will.
Because that's a great beer, the
Is
Sierra Nevada. Yeah.
I've always been tempted, but the label looks a bit cartoony. I thought, it can't be that great if they haven't put that much effort into the label.
Yeah,
but,
no, they're a very well-renowned brewery, Sierra Nevada. They at the Great British Beer Festival, they normally have about 5 or 6 different beers available.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all bottled.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do a decent range.
I'm looking forward to that beer festival next year.
Yes,
We have to go.
I think there's going to be quite the group of us, Nick.
Yeah. And it is funny, this book, they've also got this beer called the Concertina Bengal Tiger, which is only available in a working man's club in Mexborough, South Yorkshire.
Okay,
And
so...
a couple of pubs nearby. And I've read some reviews and it's not that great.
I was going to say, so they've put a beer in the 300 beers you need to try before you die that you can only get in a working man's club in Yorkshire, which you probably have to be a member of via generations of members of that working man's club.
Well, you can go in and you can sign the visitor's book, or you can pay £2 for a year's membership.
Oh, worth it then for one of the 300 beers that I've got to drink before I die.
But you do have to go to South Yorkshire.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a trip.
Maybe I'll pass on that one. To answer the previous question, what ingredients are in lager?
Yes.
Water, malt, hops, and yeast.
Oh, so there is hops.
Yeah, but I don't think they're massively hopped.
Right. Because I'm thinking the amount of lager they drink in this country, that must be a call for hops. But if they get it all imported because it's cheaper and all that kind of stuff.
Well, again on that show, I think they had an example of some hops. They look like little green pellets. That's kind of a dried hop that they now used rather than the actual hop plant itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I learned that when I did the Adnams tour.
Yep.
So it might just be because of that.
Yeah. We need to plan some brewery tours, mate.
We do.
Yeah.
We absolutely do.
Oh, when I was in Bury St Edmunds on the weekend, I thought I could smell a bakery. But I was smelling it all through Bury St Edmunds, and I thought maybe it's the Green King Brewery up there, over yeasting their beer. I don't know.
When they're brewing, all you can smell is yeast.
Oh, that's probably it then.
In the air. There's a brewery at Whittam Station as well, and some mornings when they're brewing, it's the smell is almost sickly. Oh, this beer is incredible.
Let's go back to this Raven then. I have to say, the bottle design, the label design for the Thornbridge stuff is lovely. I really like the theming they've got across their labels.
It's the same picture, isn't it? Just in different colours.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's just that picture of that statue.
Oh, what's the statue then? What's so important about that statue?
Not sure.
Anyway, I do like their labels, and you know that I always judge a beer by its label.
Yes, I've got a few stashed away for Christmas. I've got a Wild Swan, and I've got another Jaipur IPA, and I've also got a Kipling as well, which is a Pacific Pale Ale. which I've never had before. So they're all stashed for Christmas.
So I'm just checking in this beer into Untapped.
Okay, the picture of the statue is of Flora, and she is the goddess of flowers, and she sits in the Italian garden at Thornbridge Hall. Like the beers, she represents beautiful elegance and is a compliment to the craft of her maker.
Oh, wow. There you go.
I haven't just read that off their website at all.
Right, so any further thoughts on this now that the bottles or the beers become a little bit more oxygenated, if you have any more left?
No, I have got some left because I'm actually taking it easy with this one tonight, because if I drunk it at my normal pace, I wouldn't have been able to speak by now. Maybe I'm already struggling. Who knows? As it's warming, once again the flavours are changing. I'm also finding it's getting smoother as well, and it's getting much easier to drink. But maybe that's just as I'm becoming more accustomed to the taste.
Yeah, I'm finding the same thing actually. I've untapped this now, or I've tapped it in, and I quite like reading out the recommendations, so I'll do that again. Based on this beer, they also recommend the Skunk Black IPA from Three Heads Brewing, Black Watch IPA from Adirondack Pub and Brewery, and the Trickster Black IPA from Mountain Sun Pub and Brewery. Never heard of those guys. Probably all American. Which is no bad thing. Oh, this is nice.
It is really nice.
It's getting bitterer as you get further down, I find.
I'm actually at the stage now where when I first poured it and took that first sniff of the aroma and first taste, I was a little bit like, whoa, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And as my taste buds have got used to it, apparently as well, again, was it that show? It only takes 3 sips for your mouth to get used to a flavour. Apparently, I'm pretty sure they said on there.
Okay.
3 mouthfuls of any beer for your mouth to actually fully acclimatise to the flavours that are going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was like, whoa, hang on, whoa, there's lots going on there. But now I've settled into it, and I'm at the point now where I'm approaching the end of the glass, and I'm thinking I could quite easily crack open another one of those, and then merrily say goodnight to the world for the night.
I would have said a horrible thought that I wasn't recording this, but I am. We might have had to crack open the other bottle.
Oh, God. We'd have had to wait 15 minutes for it to have chilled in the freezer. Oh, badge on Untapped.
Oh, did you? What did you get?
I believe in IPA level 7.
Level 7. That says a lot.
Woo!
Oh.
Get in. New badge. I do love opening a new badge, especially live on the show. Exclusive.
And
Steve
you do
gets a new badge.
You do love your IPAs as well. That's proof.
I do love my IPAs. I do love an IPA beer.
One of the beers I got from that crafty beery place in Bury St Edmunds has what is it now? It's one of the spices that is in curries. Coriander.
Oh, okay.
It's got coriander in it.
Oh, interesting.
Because the guy said to me, "Have you tasted this before?" And I said, "Well, no. I'm rather new to ales." And he pointed out that it's got coriander in it and gives a real coriander taste to it. So that's going to be really interesting.
I'm not sure whether I'd like that or not. 'Cause I'm not a fan of curries.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I like a good curry, if you get me.
Yeah.
Average curries, I'm not fond of them at all. But a good one with a nice naan bread and everything. Oh.
Sorry, I'm getting some after belch hops.
Oh dear.
Some post belchage.
Okay.
That aroma is just amazing. I cannot describe in words how great that aroma is, and it's just such a shame that there still isn't a way of sharing aromas
Yeah, I know.
via the medium of sound.
Just imagine, gentle listener, a spicy pine scent, but underneath it, it's kind of like a sweet malty biscuit smell. Just lingering under the surface. Not very strong, but just under there. And the pine isn't overpowering at all. It's not like air freshener, but like walking in a forest.
I think you've summed that up amazingly, and I'm almost beginning to get to the point where I'm wondering if there's a role reversal gone on here. The teacher has become the student almost.
I don't have very much left in the glass, so because I'm using my Bath Ales kind of gobletty glass, because I thought I wanted one that's going to let the aromas out.
Yeah,
much better than the tall glasses that I have. And so I'm able to swirl this around. I'm really getting the release of that scent now. And I'm picking up that malty biscuitness underneath the light pine. It's lovely. But when I say, do lagers have hops? That kind of suggests to me that I'm not quite ready to take over the leadership.
well, I didn't know either. I had to check, just because lager's so bland and pointless. It's a waste of good hops almost.
Yeah.
So save the hops for the real beer.
Although, after having those 2 American lagers on the weekend, the Samuel Adams and the Brooklyn, I wouldn't mind delving more into the craft lager scene.
Yes, yeah. I think with we might be doing that in a few weeks. Watch this space.
Yeah, because there are some interesting ones in my Bukao beer. I'm going to be so heavy into the European beers next year.
Really?
Now that I've found this shop.
I've always veered away from the European beers. I don't know why. I just always have.
But there's so many different styles. There's the steam beers, there's the Trappist beers, there's the Weissners, there's the Pilsners.
We could quite happily do like a European tour, not literally,
No.
virtual one.
A virtual one.
Yeah. Don't think I'd get a beer pass for a couple of weeks to go trekking around Europe drinking beer.
Yeah. Maybe let's plan way ahead and think of October next year and do Oktoberfest. And try and find some nice craft German beers.
It's not actually in October.
I know. I went to Oktoberfest in August once. Well, the one time I went, it was in August, end of August, early September. But
And it's gone.
oh, I've got a little bit left. Let me finish mine off.
And that last mouthful, sweet, bitter, hoppy, lovely.
Okay, now while I'm finishing off mine, beyond what you just said, give us your final review of the Thornbridge Raven Black IPA.
I think it's incredibly well balanced in terms of all the flavours that are in there. The flavours really complement one another. You get waves of flavours and aromas and tastes, and it all just works perfectly. I would highly recommend this beer for one thing, for the aroma. 2 things, it would be the aroma followed by the taste that comes with it. It's a cracking beer, and I can really understand why it won the world's best Black IPA. I would give it 4 stars.
Very good. I think you summed it up perfectly well. That aroma at the beginning, the pine scented hops, is just amazing. It's not overpowering. Because I think we've had something similar in that initial kind of evergreeny nose to some beers that we've had, or that I've found. But this doesn't then carry through to the taste. So when you drink it, it's like a welcoming malty taste. You can taste the blackness in it, but then the hops, they're just rejoicing in your mouth.
Yes.
But the good thing is, and it goes back to how you said it's well balanced, because it's amazingly well balanced. The malt gives such flavour to the beer, but the hops so spicy and so lingering, but they don't overpower the malt. You can go back for successive sips, and the malt is always still there. It's rich and sweet. The hops have a really nice sharp bitterness to it, nice sharp spice to them. Bloody hell, it's a great beer. I'm so pleased we got this bottle. Thanks, Thornbridge.
Yes, thank you to Thornbridge Brewery.
This is definitely one of the highlights of this season.
Absolutely. I think if we were going for an impartial ranking of all of the beers that we've had this season, at the moment, this would currently sit on top, even above Hobgoblin, which is a personal favourite of mine. It's a great beer, but this is an amazing beer.
Yeah, I'm putting this up alongside the Winter Treacle Porter.
Yeah.
As far as character and taste and balancedness, what were some of my other favourites? The Bath Ales Gem, but that doesn't even come close to this. Yeah, it's just what I'm pleased with. Let me just do this as one takeaway from this. It says, when I was reading the label and I was reading about the roasted malts, I was thinking, I really hope this doesn't have the roasted malts that I really don't like, and that has turned me off a number of beers in the last couple of months. Because you always hear me talking about how this beer was really nice, but it had really roasted malt taste to it. And this is malty, but it's not that really bitter. You know when you go to a coffee shop and they give you a cup of coffee, but it's obvious they haven't cleaned out the thing properly that they crushed the beans in, or they soak the water through the beans, and so it's got that really burnt taste to it.
Yeah,
there's many beers that I've had which are supposed to be roasted malts, but they just taste like burnt malts. This isn't like that at all.
It's almost like the roasted malts. That's what brings the flavour. That's the flavour.
Yeah.
It's that's what gives you all those really beautiful flavours, all the background flavours that are going on. It's just bang on for me, this beer.
And for a brewery that veers away from filtration, it's a really clean taste as well.
Yes, very, very clean taste.
Well done, Thornbridge.
Very well done.
Good work.
It would be great to travel up to Derbyshire, Buxton, Bakewell, to visit the Thornbridge Brewery and to do a tour, and at the same time get the famed Bakewell pie from the Bakewell village, which isn't a Bakewell tart, it's a Bakewell pie, and they don't have sugar icing coating, but they are lovely.
Oh, and on Thornbridge's website you can buy a mixed case of their beers.
Yeah, you can. Well, there's two versions, isn't there?
Yeah, there's the Brewer's Selection, which would be very interesting.
Yeah.
And there's another mixed case of some sort.
I'm almost tempted to purchase the Brewer's Selection to see what I get.
Yeah. And they've
Although
also
I suspect
got this,
I've got most of it upstairs.
They've got this special beer that they only brew a few times, the Bracier. It's a rich dark ale. 3 bottles will set you back 25 quid. And that's 500ml bottles, by the way, but they only brew it 4 times a year in limited quantities. Interesting. I probably wouldn't like it.
No, probably not.
Anyway, before this turns into commercial for Thornbridge,
I've got to say, there's one more thing. I'm sure they do an Imperial Stout as well. That's about 11%.
They do the St. Petersburg Imperial Russian Stout. Yeah.
Yeah. That would just, I believe, knock my socks off.
Yeah, I can't see on the website what the ABV is for it. But I'm sure I saw one of the YouTube reviewers review that one week and he was almost pissed by the end of it.
Yeah. Imperial stouts are normally huge in their ABVs.
Yeah. But that would be interesting to try, though.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to find a Thornbridge pub in London, a pub that sells a range of Thornbridge beers.
Yeah, all their pubs seem to be in Sheffield or thereabouts. Now,
To be where, sorry?
Sheffield?
Well, yeah, that's because that's near where they're based.
Yeah, but I was hoping they would have one in London.
Yeah, well, you can but hope.
I'm going to Sheffield next year for work.
Are you?
I might have to try and stop by a pub, but then hope I don't miss my train home.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm only up there for the day. I've got to come home.
Oh dear.
Oh, dearie me. Okay. Thanks again to Thornbridge for providing this beer. Okay, Steve, let's wrap this up.
Okay, then.
iTunes, folks, you can find us on iTunes, and please do drop us a review. Just do a search on the iTunes store for Beer O'Clock Show, and we're right there. Drop us a review on there, it would be much appreciated. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Beer O'Clock Show, and the website is beeroclockshow.co.uk. Steve is on Twitter at mentalbentos, mentalbentos, and I'm there at Roku, ROKKU. Thanks very much for another great show and another great beer. Steve, what is your personal assignment for next week, mate?
Oh, I've not really thought about it again. I don't know at this stage. If I'm honest, I don't know what I've got left in my in my beer cellar box fridge type thing in the garden. It'll be something from in there. If not, I'll find something else to try. But sorry, I didn't prepare that bit for this week.
That's all right. I didn't prepare it either, but I managed to walk over to my pub shelf and select one. This is another beer that my mate Alistair sent down from Scotland earlier in the year. This is the Black Isle Organic Red Kite Ale, which is what's the ABV on this? I'm sure I saw it before. 4.2%. This is from...
Well, I'm out. I'm going to a new craft beer place tomorrow night. Place called the Beer House. They've currently got a branch at Charing Cross, but they've also now opened one up at Waterloo. Mm-hmm. And I'm around Waterloo tomorrow and out with friends for a couple of beers in the evening, so I should be heading in there, and maybe I'll find something in there that I'll review.
Very good. I expect a full report.
You will indeed get one, yes.
Cool, and I'll be seeing you on Thursday. We'll
yes.
try and get a pint or two.
Yes, indeed.
Before our lovely concerto in the evenings.
Apparently the craft beer company sells Thornbridge beers.
Cool.
So that's on our list of places to visit at some point. Mm-hmm. And do some of our live shows from. So hopefully they'll have some Thornbridge on when we're in there.
Lovely. All right, mate. That's it for this week. Thanks very much, and I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, look forward to it.
Have a good one.